This is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster, and welcome to Halloween night, Halloween episode. Yeah, there technically isn't one, but yeah. So this will air on the KTS channel and the reviews channel, because essentially we binge watched after the Harvest Festival. I visited it. We binge watched and they really don't have any pictures. I just have like a shot of me in the red costume with the stormtroopers. It's nothing silly. Anyway, but yeah, they're you don't take pictures at the Harvest Festival anymore. So yeah, just because why? The Halloween festival. Yeah, it would be silly. So anyway, yeah. So what I did is I binge watched the new He-Man, the other one, the Kingdom Hearts one. I saw 2 episodes of it a couple days ago, and now I finally finished it. Binge watched the rest of it, or 3 or 4 episodes. Actually, I watched half of it, and now I watched the other half. It took until now it's 10:14 roughly. Yeah. So yeah. It's fine. It has elements of the animation of the Kingdom Hearts game a lot. It has a little bit of reboot in there. It has a little bit of Beast Wars. It has a little bit of the animation of Star Wars Rebels, the Clone Wars, but so does Prodigy. It's very similar in tone to those. It's trying to be Pixar, but it's not Pixar. Yeah, it's somebody else. It's probably DreamWorks or something. But it's supposed to be Netflix and Mattel, and it is done up in a way that makes it look like the similar to the Shazam series. There's a lot of other things that it's like. He-Man is a multiverse, as some have pointed out on the internet, including the Spectre Creative guy has also pointed out that's a multiverse. It always was. And this is just another version of the multiverse, just like the little girl She-Ra and the Princess of Power thing was. That version, there's another version out there. Apparently they can't put She-Ra in the new He-Man stuff because apparently she's one of the characters that went to Hasbro or something. So Mattel has all the others, but she went elsewhere. I guess they didn't keep the copyright to She-Ra, which is why the other one doesn't follow the continuity as much. It goes in its own direction and is more like a Pretty Pony type of thing. This one is also yeah. This one's also similar. Also, they had I haven't watched the Princesses of Power. I've watched the original She-Ra and He-Man and She-Ra back in the day. Yeah. I know the OK Boomer thing. People often say the OK Boomer thing, and it does not work. If they're saying OK Old Man, it still doesn't work. Because when they say OK Boomer, they don't mean anybody born after 19... Boomer is a baby boomer. It refers to those born after the World War II, 1945 or so, up to about 1965. So everybody born after 1965 to 1985, my generation, is X generation. Born in 70, X generation, not boomer. You can't call an X generation person a boomer. The boomer would be their parents. So, just so you know. But yeah, so our X generation, and the next generation after that, 85 to 2005, is the millennials, the Y generation, and Z is the current one. The post-millennial generation. X, Y, and Z, I guess. But yeah, actually the Y generation is also Y, as in WHY, Why Me generation as well. But yes. So, yeah. Which makes KO Dan right on the cusp of X generation and millennial. 86. So, anyway, yeah. So, anyway, yeah. So technically, he's Y, but goes by X. So there's in between. I'm right there in the middle of the millennial, 1970. Anyway, so yeah, I was familiar with He-Man, the original series. I was 12 or 13 when it started. And yeah, I always understood that it was a multiverse even back then. The episodes didn't have any continuity with each other. So the Kevin Smith one came out, trying to do a sort of a soft reboot, make it about Tila. It freaked out all of the internet trolls, mostly, as Kevin Smith accurately said, most of which never saw the original show and just wanted to be vitriol and be annoying and be jerks on the internet. That's basically what it boils down to. They just wanted to go after something because, ooh, let's go after it. Ooh, we don't like this. It makes our penis hurt or something. And it's like, there was nothing wrong with it. The commercial advertising made it look a little disingenuous in that it wasn't so much about He-Man, it was about Tila. But if you watch the second trailer, no, it's actually both. And it's about, because they couldn't use She-Ra, Spectre Creative pointed out. They couldn't use She-Ra because they couldn't get permission to use that character. He-Man's sister, She-Ra, and Hordak, and all that. Different part of the universe, Eternia, Preternia, and all that. So they cleverly just sort of retconned it into a little bit and made Tila acting more like a She-Ra type person. She's just standing in for She-Ra, that's all. Because they couldn't include She-Ra in the current one. I would think they could get permission from Hasbro. Hasbro would let them. If they really went to the trouble, they would let them. Anyway, but they didn't. I saw the trailer for the next season of the Kevin Smith one, and it looks awesome. So he does reappear in the next trailer, and yeah, he comes back, and the power of Grayskull's in him and all that. So yeah, they're gonna the showdown with him and Skelgod in November, a little bit further away, but a couple of weeks from now. So the Netflix He-Man series remake. They've done another one. They did two. They've got, and Spectre Creative and some of the other ones have said what's on the toy shelves is what's selling. They don't leave stuff on the toy shelves when it's not selling. So the 4x4 rack on the shelf, their 4 spot on the rack, tells you what's selling. Target, Walmart, and I'm not sure about the other ones, but Target and Walmart mainly. Toys R Us is gone. They're trying to get it back, but these big companies bought out that name, are messing with it. KB might return someday as another thing. It'll be another thing though. These other companies buy out these big chains and then just let them go. Well, not one is sure yet, but I used to do a lot of the Toys R Us stuff back in the day because I had an online store on eBay. The Transcarta store, and it's gone now, but I did, and yeah, I do a lot about that kind of stuff, insider stuff back then, and the 4x4 thing, and when things came in and stuff like that. Even got accused of being a toy scalper at one point, but no, I did not sell. I was not a retail person. I was a independent seller on eBay. And it funded the Trans-Tech series, Transformers New Robotech series, as well as the beginning of the Starship Chimera movie, but not the end. There were other ways to get stuff then after that, so I don't have the story anymore. But I remember a lot of how it worked, and once trade shows start up again, there's possibility of having an Amazon one, possibly. I've got a lot of books on Amazon, the Cillian Saga and the other ones. But you know, I'm rambling about like toy store stuff because they know toys, lots of toys. They know toys, but I'm not a retailer. I'm just a fan, a collector of toys. And as Go the Freaking Geek related, you don't grow old until you stop playing, and you you gotta keep playing. Yeah. So yeah, and he even did the Mush stuff. So yeah, He-Man. Well, Transformers Mush, you like that too. A lot of other people did. I did that fan series. But yeah, He-Man was not the main thing. I mean, the 2 or 3 of the figures. One of them was the red Beastman's assistant dude, Hordak assistant dude. Keldar. That Keldar? No, it wasn't Keldar. That's the other guy. It was Hordar or something like that. They crushed him. And they had another guy. I think I had the Merman guy. But yeah, I did not have Mossman. Yeah, like Mark's cards had Mossman. Yeah, it smelled like pine. However, as far as the Spectre Creative was mentioning a lot of stuff about He-Man. This is a backstory because I know enough about the lore that watching a lot of those videos, but also I knew about the lore. It's like when he broke the He-Man mysterious Wonder Bread thing, and the He-Man Wonder Bread thing, and the mail-in thing. People were sure it was a Mandela effect to the He-Man Wonder Bread thing, mail-in thing, and in the 80s. And, well, they had catalogs in the 80s, is what they had. They had toy catalogs for Sears and a number of other places, JCPenney, and a number of Toys R Us, and a number of other places, and a toy searchers catalogs back then, before the internet. And yes, they did have a contest, and yes, my nephew was closer to me in age, because my brother's in his 70s, my half-brother, 70s. My nephew and I were roughly the same age, so we entered the contest, and for that mysterious He-Man thing figure. He looked like a Conan. He was a savage He-Man. Conan. He-Man is basically a Conan ripoff, pretty much. So they had this character. Nephew got the character. He got him so he is one of the people that got one. I didn't get him, but he got one. So excellent, but I don't know what happened to him for all these years. But yeah, it was definitely in the contest. And when I told Spectre Creative about that on his website, I said, actually, yeah, my nephew actually had that guy. He had him. He got him. He went for the contest, and he had him. I don't know if he still has him. Don't think so. The other nephew, the oldest nephew. Unless the nieces and nephews. But that guy is totally like one of the guys we had. So that was a true thing. Don't Mandela effect. So this is one of the few people on there that is not vitriolic about the He-Man franchise. He understands it. He wrote for the 2000X one. This guy, Spectre Creative. And he tried to have a talk with the biggest vitriol dude out there, but the vitriol dude didn't want to talk to him. So he's like, So it made this very edited, abridged version of their talk, put Lego figures in there, and said like, okay, this guy really didn't want to talk to me. He wanted to trap me. It's like, yeah, you should talk to me. I'll talk to you. Of course, I'm on your side. So nobody's paying sides. No. So yeah, the new He-Man. I was kind of rambling about the backstory because you gotta know the backstory before you go into the story, right? So there isn't much really to say though. So I was kind of filling it in for this Halloween episode. So we have a He-Man show that is basically like a video game. It has some major changes to the characters, and no one really complaining about it. This is odd. It's probably the same people that didn't watch the Kevin Smith one and immediately tried to destroy it. No, this really sucks. We don't like it. And it's like, so those same people did not watch this other one at all. I'm thinking they didn't watch it at all. Even though this one changes the continuity even more. This one has Ram Man as a girl, Ram Mam, which kind of sounds dirty. There's like adult jokes in this thing, and it's supposed to be like a kid's cartoon. It's really dark in parts, and it has themes of abandonment and stuff, and the king's kind of evil at first and misunderstood and stuff, and it's kind of messed up. It's actually a little more messed up than the Kevin Smith one, but in a good way. I would say it's more lively. The character development is more likable. If they were paying attention, some of them might have been. The ones that have wanted to take sort of a middle approach to it have said that the new He-Man, the burly 90s style He-Man, CGI one, does look more in the vein of the. Yeah, it looks more in the vein of the character development is better, the world building is better, the characters are... The guy playing Cringer is reminiscent of a guy from Robotech years ago and totally works. The He-Man, Prince Adam, of course, Adam. Kal Kat is Adam. That's hilarious. I even did a Halloween costume where I was Hera, Princess of Power. True story. Yes. Yeah, it happened once back in high school. I was Hera. No, I was not a trans person. I was a transvestite. That's different. So, just so you know, I dressed up as She-Ra and He-Man together. Just once. There are no pictures of this. Somewhere out there, there might be slides. I don't know. But yeah, He-Ra, Princess of Power. Also, my He-Man sword. I did the He-Man thing again later on, and I made a sword. I made a wooden balsa sword during the Trans-Tech era. Did it again. I did the He-Man He-Ra costume again in the 2000s, and I made a sword and a weapon and stuff. So yeah, that was fun, and it's featured in one of my rock videos, my mall video, the original Eminem mall video, which didn't have a mall in the original one. But it had me going, by the power of Grayskull, at the end, and He-Man sword. So, full-sized, like balsa sword, which is a prop in the background during the Kal Kat show. Yeah, so the other version of the mall story was redone. It was the Love the Way You Lie, Love the Way You Buy show, which apparently got famous enough that the guy doing the thrift shop video thought I could do that better, and he did. He did it better. It was called the thrift shop song. He did it way better. So I redid mine in a mall, in the Great Mall. I did it in the Great Mall and showed the storefronts on the suggestion of my one of my nieces. Is that you got to go in the mall and show the storefronts. It'll look better. But how are we going to do that? The mall will let you. Don't do it with your cell phone. They won't care, and they didn't, and so I did it. Before they remodeled it. Yeah, so we did that. They won't care if you're just a tourist doing stuff, and we've been over that before. They will care if you try to film a commercial in there, but apparently a music video, they're okay with it. So, yeah, there's just some stuff out there. I love the way my verse, love the sales you buy, love the way you lie, parody. Yes. Sales you buy. My version is not an Emmy award winning by any stretch. What's it? Grammy, not Grammy award winning by any stretch. No, my version is not. The He-Man song for this new one is cool. The Power of the Soul song's cool. It's a rock song kind of thing. The sword is ridiculous though. I want the Shadiversity to do the He-Man sword from the newer He-Man. So how ridiculous that sword would look. But yes, we have. Yeah, the He-Man thing. Yeah, because I haven't much to say about it. It was okay. It was fine. It was reasonably placed. The character development was good. The stories were generally good and engaging. It's more of a kid show version of it, so there were camaraderie between He-Man and Crass, and yes, Crass, that's her name. There's the Trapjaw's origins and Beastman's origins being that one guy, and Keldor and Skeletor origins being the nephew, a la Hamlet. Same idea, Skeletor and Hamlet. It's very Hamlet-like, very, very Shakespearean. He even references it at one point. So yes, evil uncle tries to take the throne. That's right out of Hamlet. So it's a little bit like The Lion King, and it's like Simba and the Lion King kind of thing going on, which was also Hamlet basically. That's why everybody liked it. It was basically Hamlet. So, but with lions, not the live action remake. So yeah, it was. Of course, it was not Shakespeare. They were just imitating it. Certainly wasn't. Turns out the king and his armies had all kinds of drones and robots, and they fight them and stuff. They sort of reinvented the Castle Grayskull thing, so Sorceress wasn't there. She was sort of a ghost or after image of her. Kept reappearing. They made Tila a sorceress, which is consistent with one of the timelines, or one or two of the timelines of the books. Taylor was a sorceress. The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Sorcerer's Apprentice, like Disney. It's a Kingdom Hearts thing. Learns their power. They all learn their powers. They all have the power of Grayskull. That's different. That's not what was in the other one. It's similar to the Princesses of Power thing. Yes, but not similar to She-Ra, Princess of Power. He was different, and he spun around in like Wonder Woman. But he was a transvestite, not a transsexual. No, Kal Kat was never that far. He would occasionally dress up because there was no girls around, but he was never that far. He just he would dress up. Clearly, he's still a dude. Just buy it. So yeah, just buy it. Transvestite. She likes dressing up. Yes. Oh my. But yes. Yeah, so the idea of these characters switching gender in the story makes sense. Because they apparently are, that's fine. They can do whatever. I'm sure it should be freaking out the alt-right people because they'd be, oh no, you turn Ram Man into a girl, and Ram Man. Well, they could say the Kal Kat thing. What they could say, well, Crass spelled that way is basically ripping off Starship Location's character in Chimera, Crass, the Klingon girl. Yeah, but how do you know he didn't have something to do with it? Yeah. So we didn't technically, but yeah, technically. No, there's actually a Crass in He-Man. It's not. I'm kidding. I had nothing to do with Mattel and Kevin Smith's He-Man or the other one. Some vitriol fans thought I did. They're all, that guy just likes Kevin Smith because he's one of the Kevin Smith people. It's like, yeah, if I had been in a Kevin Smith movie, I think I would have mentioned it. I went to the premiere of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I still have a poster up there. But I went to one of the premieres. But yeah, I'm not friends with them. They don't know me. But someday I would appear at the cantina and ask him a question, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. My other nephew went to the Steve-O thing. That just happened in San Jose. I didn't get to go. Philip, the younger nephew, he went to the Steve-O thing. So it's like, these characters, we don't know them. We just from the internet. You're not really friends with them when you have a tweet or a retweet. That's not being friends with them. They don't know who you are. There are thousands of people out there, and they don't know. It's like, no, he's in on it. He knows, he works for Mattel. It's like, oh, hi. Yeah, if you follow any of my stories, post the Mattel era, after I was a little kid. When Transformers started, the Mattel Hot Wheels and Matchbox Hot Wheels, no more. Transformers, Hasbro. It's been Hasbro since 84 or 85. So. But yes, Hasbro, clearly. But sometimes they bought some of Kenner and stuff, so they crossed over, and they bought Tonka, so. No. Although we're not saying we're in Hasbro, we're saying a collect Hasbro. So. Just to clarify that nobody is saying we're, because if we were, wouldn't maybe something. No, you're totally in CBS, Paramount, Viacom, your Star Trek keeps ending up there. It's like, no, it's a coincidence. It's a really weird coincidence, but now we have a crossover with Crass and Crass. Crass from Mattel and Crass from Starship Locations, technically CBS Viacom. So that's really strange. Now, if they include a Crass in Lower Decks, that would be hilarious. Because you're like, okay, it'd be younger Crass. It'd be like very much younger Crass. How about they include her in? Well, even if they included her in Prodigy, it wouldn't make sense. But they could put her in Picard season 2 if they want to, which would be the right age. Yes. anyway, Ram Man. the weird cyber puberty of He-Man. I don't know where this is going, but yeah, the kids power up and they become adults. Cyber puberty. You'd think they would still be acting like children, which they kind of are in the story. It's kind of strange. Yeah. And yet it's fine. It was. I'm rambling on about other things, but hey, this is a sort of a Halloween special / review that / thing, and why not? Why not? The last of the candy that was left over, well, some of it, and that's it's. There's nothing wrong with it. It isn't any better or worse than the other one. Any better or worse than the other one? It's there. It has potential. It's one half of a series. Apparently, there's more, like the other one was. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, the toys are selling. Those are that box thing. They have the toys for Revelation right next to the toy He-Man Revelation, that Kevin Smith one, right next to Masters of the Universe. This one with the He-Man, mostly He-Man, is selling. They like the Evil Lyn from both of them too. They're selling. They don't have very many Teelas. They keep getting snatched up. So despite the alleged non-fan backlash, the Teela figure is hard to get, and you can't find it. Everybody else is there. They've made enough of those, but the Teela is hard to find. Man-at-Arms is impossible to find, but they did make him. They just didn't. Yeah. As for the younger group, you can get the younger group. They're all there. I think they have a Target exclusive or something. But yeah, I don't have them. But I should probably get the grass because it's grass. Yeah. But yes, She-Ra, Princess of Power. So I guess this has been the But yes, oh my. But yeah, this has been the also the it's very with it. It's fine. It doesn't insult intelligence. It's done at a level that very reminiscent of 90s cartoons basically. But the animation is similar to video games, and it's fine. He-Man, Masters of the Universe, the newer one. So I got nothing more other than binge watching He-Man. Some parts of Snake Mountain and the castle, and they moved the castle. I didn't even get to the plot. The plot of the story was basically just a simple enough 10-episode arc where they get their powers, they learn how to use them, and Prince Adam isn't with, or he's got to meet his dad later on and get his memories back, and then go to meet the dad, and then discover that the uncle had hidden it or kidnapped him basically, and somehow his memories were taken away, and because of this fight in Skull Mountain or whatever, and then Castle Grayskull, and later on, he gets to meet his father again, and and save him from a storm. And there's and Skeletor is making Keldor become Skeletor, which is something that didn't show in the cartoon originally. In the Kevin Smith one, he's already Skeletor. The Kevin Smith one is a direct spin-off of the original show. I don't know how they could really do that because the last episode of the show was considerably different than what they did, but they should have just called it a reboot, and then they probably wouldn't have had as many vitriol things. It's just that this is a reboot with some of the similar characters. It's not the original show, it's a reboot. If they'd said that, and they probably wouldn't have said anything. And of course, they weren't watching it. The new one does even more changes to it. Orko is apparently a robot in this one. And that's fine. Okay. So really, it's He-Man. I was rambling on about He-Man stuff and things like that from years ago, and it's this doesn't need to be a very long one, so we'll go about 30 minutes and stop. And so it's it's fine. Go watch the Netflix He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. That's what it's called. A 2021 series re-release. I didn't really give you any spoilers. Hey, you can go and watch it for Netflix. We're not associated with Netflix. Anyway, so